The song Imagine was released in 1971. It has been called one of the greatest songs ever produced. John Lennon filmed the recording of this song while playing a piano, while his wife went around opening doors and curtains. The reason the world loves the song is because it daydreams about a world without God. They love to use the word good instead of God. They actually believe that if you removed all the Christians, then the world would be a beautiful utopia and intelligence would increase until mankind can solve all of mankind's problems. They're going to get their chance real soon. I wish them well. Maybe later we can return to the planet and see how they progressed. In the last 50 or so years, an entire generation has been conditioned to not say anything critical of the Fab Four, but now that we're in the 21st century, let's look back objectively. Oh sure, I wouldn't have said all of this the day after Lennon got shot and killed, but I'm pretty sure enough time has passed now. Since most of the internet viewing population was born after 1980 and weren't brought up with the same sacred cows, there still will be some people that are going to be upset at me for critiquing this song, Imagine. But we Bible believers are used to being in the minority. It starts off saying, "Imagine there's no heaven." Those are the first words from this famous song, which is actually a terrible thing to imagine. If there's no heaven and no God to escort me to the afterlife, then we are all living in nothing matters world, hurtling through space with no one in control. And yet, because there's a beginner level piano tune being played, we're supposed to just smile and think of this as somehow positive. Imagine there's no hell below us. This is their big hope. My hope is to be with Jesus. Their hope is avoiding hell. They can wish all they want. They can talk themselves into not believing it exists, but it's almost unavoidable. Something in them tells them they're going there. And seeing Christians walking around freely, and worse, posting online freely, reminds them of the differences between us and them. The song continues, "Imagine no countries." Now, here's a subject that the people in the world can actually do something about. They can't make heaven and hell go away no matter how many times they sing this song, but they can bring about a world without countries and boundaries. Even people that aren't saved realize how bad that could be. Boundaries are a good thing. Imagine no possessions. No possessions. Now, before I say the obvious about how this is communism at its core, let me remind you that the people that often want us to change or give up something never get around to changing themselves. At the time of Lennon's death, his estate was worth between $200 to $250 million. He would often send his assistants to go out looking for old Lennon record albums and buy them. The man had possessions. He didn't lead by example. Sitting in bed for days at a time letting reporters take your picture while you don't get a haircut is not leading anybody to do anything worthwhile. Today, Lennon's estate has increased in value for his widow, Yoko Ono, who was sitting right there on the piano bench while Johnny was playing the song, and yet she has many possessions. I realize it takes some time to get rid of everything, but how many decades do you need? But enough of what the world is up to. What does the Bible say about imagination? "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." It seems as if God doesn't think very highly of mankind's imagination, huh? Imagine that. "And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth." Apparently, when mankind gets rolling, they don't spread world peace. Not so much. "But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Mankind always imagines that he's making tremendous strides and things are getting better all the time. And yet, ask the guy on the street if man is making progress. Or are things getting more sinful every day? Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Mankind's imaginations are vain and full of darkness, no matter how many doors or curtains Yoko wants to open. Mankind is delusional when it tries in vain to sound noble and dedicated to world peace. But there is no peace without Jesus Christ. God wants us to cast down our vain imaginations. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Now, instead of having vain imaginations without God, let's try to have good imaginations. Let's imagine a world with no more sin, a world where Christians live in peace and harmony. Let's imagine a world where Jesus is on the throne and mankind is not. Now, to help us imagine these wonderful thoughts is our old friend Eli Fox. Eli has come up with a new version of the song Imagine, and it's sure to not impress a certain crowd. So I ask you now, please go and view Eli Fox's YouTube channel for his retelling of the Imagine video.